Hello and welcome to this program on testing of instructional material. We shall be talking about the testing of instructional materials from various parts and how to improve them. You may be a learner or a distance teacher or an expert involved in preparing self-instructional printed material. In fact, the program describes the ways of testing instructional materials to check whether they convey what they are supposed to convey. The purpose of this program is to acquaint you with the methods of pre-testing self-instructional printed material. For example, we test the material for BA Economics course. This kind of testing is applicable to any course material like language, science, and technical courses. This self-learning printed material is containing access devices and structures including introduction and objective at the beginning and summary, answer key at the end. Experts from the Indira Gandhi National Open University, conventional universities and research institutions have written this material. The important part of the self-instructional printed material is instructional step in which subject matter is presented and the different types of questions are asked.
Here are some steps in which SLPM can be tested. Observation, how learners use the material. Assessing comprehension, testing the material, not grading the learners. Writing test questions, analyzing pre-test results, close testing, getting reactions to the material.
Let us start with the first step.
Observation, how learners are using the material.
Let's see how learners are using the material. We have selected a sample of 10 learners who are not aware of the self-instructional printed material of the course in which they are interested in applying to IGNOU. However, they are aware of the previous class's course.
Hello everybody, myself Dr. Ashok Gava from Indira Gandhi National Open University. We have developed a unit for your course in economics. Please go through this unit and give a comment on the part which you find difficult. This test doesn't examine your ability as a learner but efficiency and accuracy of the draft material. Please cooperate with us. Even if you give wrong answer, we won't mind.
After some time, teacher discovers that most of the learners turned to the test questions first and answered them before they read the lesson.
In this case, the writer should give clear explanation of the purpose of the test question.
The best person to carry out this pre-testing is of course the writer himself. If he is there, the learners can also ask him questions if they have any difficulties.
मुझे समझ में आ गया सर.
Okay,
Thank you.
You have seen how learners are using the learning material. One thing to be noted here, the duration of time that learners take to read the draft material. Some learners have limited reading abilities and take longer time to read even a short passage. In this case, you can ask them to read loudly. The way they read will indicate they have problems with certain words and sentences.
Assessing comprehension.
Sometimes instruction materials are designed to teach students how to do things. For example, how to prepare a dish.
The best way to developmental test or pre-test such material is simply to see if the learner can follow the instructions. Generally, instructional material is designed to inform rather than to give instructions on how to perform a particular task. The most natural way to see if learners have understood it correctly is to ask them some questions about it.
The best way to pre-test or development test the material is to see if people can follow the instructions. We pre-test the materials on the people for whom it is intended to be used. The self-learning materials of IGNOW are meant for students of different courses. Let us see how they can be tested on those students. Let us see how learners understand from the graphics. The artist had indicated the trend of per capita income of last 10 years. Let us see what learners have understood from this graph.
What is the per capita income of India during 1990-91 at current prices?
Actually, the artist has forgotten to write the word current prices or constant prices in the title and had drawn or misinterpreted the years.
Asking questions to the learners helps to understand if they interpreted the picture the way the ghostwriter meant or not. Information should be provided correctly by the graphic artist with the consultation of subject experts.
Testing the material, not grading the learners.
The test that we write to pre-test a material is different from the comprehensive test that a class teacher writes for her learners. The question is whether they understand the material or not. It does not matter if the questions are easy. If the material is clear and simple, communicates effectively, and the questions are straightforward, it ought not to be very difficult to answer them. If the questions seem hard, there is probably something wrong with them or with the material. While the questions should be easy for someone who has read and understood the material, the answer should not be obvious even to someone who has not read the material. For instance, you might be pre-testing study material about fertilizers. It would not be much use to ask.
Do fertilizers help plants to grow?
Most of the learners could answer correctly without reading the materials. On the other hand, we should not concentrate on minor details. Decide what are the most important points in the material and then ask questions to find out what the learners have found in the study materials. If the material is successful, most of the learners could find answers right.
Writing test questions. Let us discuss about the types of questions that can be asked to learners.
While drafting the question for pre-test and development test, it is very tempting to ask open questions like what are the main points of the draft material. It is very easy to frame these questions, and if you are pre-testing these materials on 4 or 5 learners, you may get away with these questions, and at times they may provide interesting results. For example, the readers may draw different conclusions from what the writer intended.
So I think language is quite difficult.
Unit is very difficult to understand.
ये लेसन मुझे समझ में नहीं आई।
इसकी लैंग्वेज काफ़ी आसान है।
लेसन काफी लंबा है।
However, if you collect answers from more than 5 learners, you encounter the problems that is associated with open questions. That is, the answers are very difficult to record and analyze.
Content is very lengthy, but they have used a very good font. The language is easy. They have used a good font, but the printing quality is very bad. इसकी प्रिंटिंग की क्वालिटी बहुत खराब है, ठीक से समझ में नहीं आया।
लेसन इज फाइन बट ग्राफिक्स आर वेरी कंफ्यूजिंग। इसकी फॉन्ट साइज बहुत छोटे हैं।
It might be easy to think up the question